From outside of Stu Duncan and Trina Rose's Pocosin home, there's not a lot to indicate that it's much different from a traditional home. But once inside, you quickly realize there's a big difference.
Initially, we just thought it'd be kind of fun to have plants in the center of a house, but what we found out is it does a lot for oxygen levels. And so what it does is allows us to sleep better because your oxygen levels are higher, takes pollutants out of the air, and makes things more comfortable for people.
Their large atrium not only gives them cleaner air to breathe, but fresh tropical fruit grown right outside their bedroom door. And there's another bonus. Their greenhouse is unusually quiet.
There's a lot of traffic outside, but you don't hear it. And atrium houses with a skylight are incredibly quiet. And people said, well, you know, you're right on a fairly busy street. And it's like, yeah, but there's no way to know it.
Stu and Trina first started thinking about what they could do to help the environment in the early 90s. Stu says they started seeing the word sustainability and thought it was just another catchphrase until they started to read up on how we were depleting our resources.
The concept of how do you burn out an entire planet it's unthinkable. And so we said, what can we do? And we said, well, everybody has to have a house. Can we create a house that is totally sustainable? That if you built 1 million of them, you wouldn't deplete the Earth's resources to either build it or to live in it. This is, power consumption, that type of thing.
The couple's next question was, if they built it, could they get it to compete with traditional housing? And just as important, could they make it beautiful? Trina says that wasn't even the most challenging part.
The biggest challenge, banks, getting financing on something that's different, was probably the most difficult thing on the whole project.
The banks were more than willing to finance a traditional home, but not a sustainable home. Most said they were doing something that was just too different. Finally, they found a bank to say yes, and they could build. Their home is incredibly well insulated. It and all other homes in the Garden Atriums community are built with no windows on the north wall to block summer sun and winter wind. The panels on the roof generate current. An inverter transforms that power, which is used throughout the house. What they don't use, they store and sell back to the power company. One of the beauties of living in a sustainable home is that there are virtually no utility bills. For example, having to provide electricity for a home of this size would normally cost between $500 and $1,000. But in this house, it's just $45 a month. They harvest their own rainwater, which they use to water their plants and flush their toilets. They grow their own herbs, fruits, and vegetables and have decorated their homes with products that do not emit gases, like cabinets made of solid wood, natural wool carpeting with lanolin, and zero volatile organic compound or VOC paint. The rooms that surround their tropical paradise are plate glass to eliminate sound.
And then I can drop this, and what do we have? You have visual privacy, but light still comes through. It's translucent, and I can still see the sky to see if it's going to rain or if the moon is out, that kind of a thing.
Stu and Trina's 4,900 square foot home may be the largest of its kind on their block, but it's certainly not the only one. This 2,300 square foot home is one of 4 built on the same concept. It even has its own banana tree. To build this home would cost just over $500,000. Some say that's a lot, but keep in mind, the owner doesn't have to pay high utility bills. At least 3 more homes are scheduled to be built in the community in the near future, bringing the total number to 7. Stu says they realize that 7 homes won't change the world, but
if we do it and they sell and other home builders come along and say, geez, I'd like to build 50 and I'd like 20, we'll help them. But that's the only way to get numbers up to try to make a difference.
For What Matters, I'm Lisa Godley.